yeah, I started the window cleaning business like 2 years ago. I was doing door-to-door sales selling solar for 3 years. So that's kind of what built me into, just knowing a lot about sales and escaping the rat race or whatever you want to call it. And then starting the window cleaning company when I moved out to Florida. Yeah, just took everything I learned from there and just started to get some traction with it.
Welcome to the Home Service Chad Podcast, the show for home service entrepreneurs who don't just want to make money, but who also want to build elite lives and create impact. Each week, Louis sits down with high performers in home services to uncover the secrets to their success. No fluff, no shortcuts, just real conversations with those doing the work. Now, here's your host, Louis Moucher.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Home Service Chad Podcast. Today, we've got my brother, Austin Ortiz. He's big door-to-door window cleaning. He's got a big social media presence, based out of Palm Beach, Florida. This guy's, doing 100K months. He's got door-to-door sales teams, selling window cleaning. He's got service plans going. Honestly, really pushing the door-to-door industry forward for window washing. So, Austin, bro, I appreciate you pulling up.
Yeah, dude.
I'm excited to get into this. We'll start off the rip, if anyone's out here who doesn't know who you are, I'm sure most people do, just from the social media and stuff, but
Sure.
Just give everyone an intro.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Thanks for having me on. Happy to be here. Yeah, I've been following your stuff forever, so it's cool to be here. But yeah, quick intro. I'm not from Palm Beach. I grew up in Southern California, lived out in San Clemente, and I started the window cleaning business like 2 years ago. I was doing door-to-door sales selling solar for 3 years. So that's kind of what built me into, just knowing a lot about sales and escaping the rat race or whatever you want to call it. And then starting the window cleaning company when I moved out to Florida. Just took everything I learned from there and just started to get some traction with it. And then starting a Instagram page last September, I think, is when I started the Austin H2O Rose page. And yeah, it's been fun to start posting on social media, and and it's definitely helped wonders with the window cleaning business. So,
Yeah, do you notice the personal brand actually runs up the window business?
Yeah, dude, it's pretty
Mostly
crazy.
Recruiting, eh?
Yeah, so 100% recruiting. Like that's all I really say to guys in terms of, because being in door-to-door sales for a while, anyone that's been in the game knows how tough it is to recruit guys. Not just get them to work for you, but get them to actually want to be better and actually want to go out, put in long hours on the doors, and then ultimately stay and grind it out. It's it's a tough ask for guys to do. So recruiting door-to-door sales reps is super tough, and I've done. I won't get into. There's been a bunch of things I've tried, but the personal brand stuff, it recruits for you in a way like nothing else. Like it brings guys to the company that you want because they see your brand and they see what you stand for, what you're about, and then when they come to you, for one, you have the authoritative figure because they trust you already, and then two, it's like you attract guys that you want to sell for your company, guys that want to be better and what you stand for. And if you're a good door-to-door sales guy yourself and you build a good brand around it, you're going to attract other good door-to-door sales guys.
Yeah, dude. You know who Tommy Mello is?
Oh, that name sounds familiar.
Big garage door guy. His business.
Yeah.
Like 200 mil.
Yeah.
Well, dude, you see a lot of these CEOs who are starting personal brands, and they're like, dude, when you're growing the company like that size, he's like, recruiting is almost as important as your actual marketing for your company.
Oh, for
is
sure.
Marketing your company to other people. So
for sure, it's absolutely
pretty much free with the personal brand, and then you can also do, like what you're doing, coaching and stuff like that. So
yeah, dude, it's been something since I've started. It started out with just recruiting for sales reps for the company, and now after just a little bit, and now starting YouTube. Actually filming my life today.
I actually watched. I watched the 3v4 video.
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was really fun.
That was fire. Who ended up winning, dude? I didn't get to the end.
Me and the team of two.
How
Yeah.
much do you guys sell?
Oh shoot. I sold I think like 16 something, and then one of the other guys who like hadn't been selling, he had his biggest day, he sold like 1,000 in revenue. So I think we
Sweet.
did like we did 26 or 2,700
Yeah.
just between us two. So yeah, it was sick. But yeah, no, I love the content stuff. That stuff is fun. Like it's just
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Well, dude, let's get into kind of the window business and stuff
Mhm.
like that while we're on
Yeah.
this whole kind of topic. So obviously, you guys main form of marketing is door-to-door sales,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You mentioned you sell service plans too. What is that? Can you kind of deep dive what that whole, like, I guess that whole process looks like? Do you guys do 1x2, or, are you just purely on the service plans?
Yeah.
When you're selling this like 16, like how much of that is plans and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I'll give you just a little hindsight on it, of when we started, because I mean, yeah, and also you're catching me at a time where I'm more excited than ever about the window cleaning business, just because we have we literally, we just starting to segue to service plans,
Nice.
after hearing other people doing it and realizing that it's possible. But when I started the business, I started it with a guy, and we were
Who was
basically,
sorry to interrupt you, bro.
yeah,
Who were like the people that you saw doing it?
Josh and Oliver. Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
were doing service plans.
Oh, service plans. No, I thought you meant window clean. Service
Okay.
plans. So this, this company out in Utah.
Oh,
What
it's Mint. Is it Mint?
Mint's one of them, but this other
Okay.
company, Glide Window Cleaning. They're they're out in Utah, and they're doing some pretty crazy things over there. So
Sweet.
yeah, hearing what they're doing, I was like, and I know they do a lot of door to door. So it was just like, dang, if they're doing it door to door, like what am I doing? But
Yeah.
to give some retrospect, when I started the business, like truth be told, I haven't really said a lot of this, is it was me and a buddy that started it, right? And we're living
So
on
this
our,
would have been like spring 2023.
this would be fall 2023. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So we
like
started
a year
October
and a half in.
23. Yeah. October 2023 is when we started the company. And it was me and another guy who I was doing solar with. And yeah, I mean, we had, obviously we had a 3-bedroom house that was just us living in. So we had expenses, right? And we just had the only model we could really do it off of was Josh and Oliver Lester. And they were, they're posting videos of like, making $1,000 a day or $2,000 a day. So we got in our heads like, okay, we need to be making $1,000, $2,000 a day profit. And that's just what we had in our heads, and tie that with expenses. So like the brand, the service side of things, service plans, like none of that was in our heads. It was just strictly, how can we make a bunch of money from window cleaning? How can we go out, sell? And we were good at doors. So it's like, how can we go out, knock a bunch of doors, hire a bunch of cleaners, and just rip these jobs left and right?
Mhm.
That's really what we did until, we split up last fall. He moved back out to California, and so I took over the business. And from there, I got exposed to other companies doing service plans, big branding, like Mint window cleaning, Pink's window cleaning, like those companies that were big on traditional marketing, and then also the brand side of things, and realized I was not necessarily doing it all wrong, but just like, I need to be doing it better on that side of things, the brand, the marketing, all the stuff that goes into a real window cleaning company, rather than just knocking doors and squeezing money out of it. So that's like been the big kind of shift with the business over the past, couple months, and really right now, especially starting these service plans with the guys that are out here selling. So that gives kind of some backstory.
Sweet. And so you guys are selling off the rip service plans?
Yeah. Yep.
Like at the door?
Now, so this also is actually crazy. Last week was the first time. So again, I've talked to a guy that's doing these service plans out in Utah, just a little bit, nothing crazy.
Guy.
Yeah. And it was like, pretty much he wasn't telling me everything, but it was just, he was kind of telling me like what they were kind of doing. And then I kind of structured it off that. And then last week, because I don't get to knock doors a whole lot anymore just with coaching, but I got to go out last week for a couple hours and just strictly sell these service plans. Wasn't selling a one-time clean. And when you go out with the mentality, anyone that's doing one-time cleans and thinking about switching to service plans, when you go out with the mentality of service plans, it has to be that's your only option, right? Because I tried to pitch these service plans like 6 months ago, but it was like I would pitch them either after the service or before, but it was always like I could always fall back on.
Right, you try and like downsell it, kind of.
Yeah, big time. And so
you don't want to downsell the one time.
Or wait, what are you asking?
I was saying like you would downsell like after the job's done.
Oh,
or I guess upsell the service plan.
Upsell the service, yeah, after the job would be done. Yeah, we'd upsell the service plan after the job's done before they paid, give them like a little discount, or I would do it at the door, but always have like the one-time clean in my back pocket. Just me, like, if they didn't want the service plan, I could just sell them a one-time clean. But last week I went out with full intent to, like, one-time cleans weren't even a thing. Like I would have walked away from the door if they wanted a one-time clean. Like that's what I was committed in my head to do. And when you go out with that framework, it really is different because you have more of a convicting tonality and more of like, hey, this is what we do. If you want
like burn the boats, right?
Yeah. If you want a one-time clean, it's just like, yeah, we just don't do that. You know what I mean? And so that's what I have guys coming out for a summer sales program actually tomorrow, and that's all we're doing. Sweet. So it's completely cutting off one-time cleans, so that way we can really give the service plans a full valiant effort rather than like kind of dipping our toes into kind of two pools. It's just like, let's go guns a-blazing in these service plans and see what we can do. So I'll have to keep you in the loop about how they go.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. And are you guys selling, like, you're getting the signatures on paper, or are you doing it all digitally?
Yep, all digitally. Yep.
Okay.
So we're using field routes.
Okay.
We've had to change CRMs, yeah, using field routes because House Call Pro is what we currently use, and they're kind of tough with the service plan. So using field routes,
really?
signatures at the door and card info at the door. Yep.
Okay. Because, dude, I'm on Jobber right now, and that's the big thing that, like, is kind of getting, I'm like, they need to lock in on service plans and also have some kind of sales pipeline. We're using Go High Level for sales pipelines and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like having two CRMs, but that's the one thing I thought about House Call that I was like, dude, their service plans I thought they were fire, but you guys are on field routes.
Yeah, it's tough because I'm actually I'm an affiliate for House Call currently,
really?
But no longer since we're switching. But I love House Call, like I do. But so to kind of keep it short, you're trying to eliminate sales friction as much as possible. And when I went out and last week I was selling these service plans with House Call, and not to get into the nitty gritty, but just there was a few things on House Call that kind of created some sales friction at the door that made it a little just uncomfortable. Contract side, getting signatures and putting their card on file. And it was like, it wasn't just like pull out my phone, quick, and then we're good. It was like kind of had to do a few steps that were just extra, and they, there's a lot of silent, or like I would have to like keep the conversation going with them while I'm like doing all this stuff on my phone.
Filling it out, right? Yeah,
and it's just, again, even a sliver of sales friction is just, if you can mitigate it, it's good. And field routes is what, it's what all the pest control companies use. It's what like Glide uses that are doing these service plans that are selling them at the door. So I'm like, okay, if they're doing it, well, there's probably a reason they're using that. And so we explored field routes. I have like my operator for the business that took care of all that. And he's like, field routes is just going to be a lot better to sell at the door. So we made the jump to field routes.
And does field routes does like door-to-door tracking and stuff like that?
They actually do, yeah. So House Call Pro we use Canvas, which is a great, door-to-door sales tracking app for marketing homes. And House Call Pro doesn't. And then we're gonna cancel House Call Pro, cancel Canvas, and then just be using field routes for everything.
Nice. What do you see? Is there stuff on house call that Field Routes doesn't have? Because like right now, that's the big thing for us is like
Yeah.
CRM, bro.
Yeah,
And
dude,
once you swap CRMs, I haven't done it yet, but
yeah. So
like,
we
I had like
swapped.
a super basic one, but it's like I
You
don't want to be
started out with
swapping too
Jobber,
much.
right?
I started out with like that was our first actual CRM, but I started out like back when I was just solo,
Yeah.
just with like
Yeah.
an accounting app and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
That's actually one of the first videos I saw of you. You were talking about Jobber, and I was like, should we get Jobber? Because I was using Homebase 360.
Okay.
Yeah, for the first year of the business, we were
So
using
you've
Homebase.
gone through a lot of CRMs, eh?
Oh yeah, yeah, pretty much. But I mean, I'm not gonna talk smack on Homebase, but once you get to that scale, like more than 4 technicians, like Homebase is just kind of just crazy. Like it's a little hectic. So that's why we made the jump to House Call, and I love House Call. But Field Routes, I can't really speak too much on because I haven't gone out and really used it. Like we're just got Field Routes set up like as of yesterday, and it's still fully set up. So check back a month, and I'm sure I'll have a bunch of input on Field Routes. But again, for me, I've always been big on if other people are doing it, I can do it. I can do it, and if they're doing it, there's probably a reason they're doing it. So I saw like pest companies, and like I said, the company on Utah using Field Routes for this, and I was like, well, instead of trying House Call with the sales reps that come out here and it being kind of a chaotic, let's just start with what we know is going to work. And that's why before all the reps came out tomorrow is like, let's have Field Routes set up so we know it'll be good.
Yeah. So dude, what are what are the actual plans like?
The plans?
Yeah, like what cadence and stuff. And do people pay like every month or?
The service plans. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be mainly doing quarterlies. So just quarterly cleans. If they want biannuals, then we'll have that. But quarterly cleans, and I haven't actually talked a lot about this because we're still kind of putting everything together. But we're going to be, doing quarterly cleans. So every 3 months, but monthly billing. So I've talked with a lot of pest guys. Monthly billing. I've talked with a lot of pest guys leading up to this, just because I'm trying to like basically like almost just copy what they're doing. Like they're obviously doing something right. Like they sell crazy numbers in contracts. So it's like, how do they structure them? And the guy that I talked to, he's the one that kind of sold me on monthly billing, of how it's just great for the business. Just having monthly recurring revenue every single month is like, and especially like Florida where it's year-round selling, right? It doesn't get cold. Right. We can sell year-round, because I think with people that have to take a break, monthly billing maybe a little tougher. I'm not saying impossible, but maybe a little tougher just because people are paying a bill where they hadn't seen you in 6 months, and it's like, why am I paying for this? But I still think it's possible. But for out here in Florida where, people want their windows cleaned pretty frequently, I think monthly billing will be great. So yeah, it'll be like quarterly cleans, and then we'll just do monthly billing, and then we'll just come out every 3 months.
That's so awesome, dude. Any monthly cleanings or no?
We actually, I don't know, maybe down the road. I've
crazy, eh?
Yeah, I've knocked a lot out here, and I mean, it's not uncommon, or it's not like you hear people doing monthly window cleaning, but it's not like super common. Like it's like out here, it's not common, but I mean, people do it.
So dude, what's the because like, dude, I'm asking you so many questions because I'm just super curious about this whole service plan thing.
Yeah,
but
fire away.
What's the incentive, bro? Like for the customers, do you give like extra stuff, or you're just like, nah, this is how we do it, this is the standard price?
Yeah. So that's kind of.
Or what does the sale look like, I guess?
Yeah, what does the sale look like?
I guess you're pretty new to it too, though, eh?
Yeah, I'm pretty new to it, but we've essentially, we're starting this like basically this protective coat, kind of like Rain-X. We'll call it Rain-X, right? So Rain-X is what we apply on the glass after we clean. So that's going to incentivize people to get on these monthly recurring plans, right? Because that way, we clean the windows, we apply the Rain-X, and then it's like, hey, we got to come back out every 3 months, clean up all the windows, and then reapply the Rain-X. And so that's going to help us.
And you actually use Rain-X, or you?
Yeah, we're testing a few different products right now.
Wow.
But Rain-X is one of them. And so, yeah, Rain-X, and then that'll incentivize people to get it on. But there's no discount on the clean or anything. We'll just spread out whatever the clean is on like a monthly basis, and that's how we sell them. So yeah, pretty much, it's pretty similar to what we're already doing, right? It's just like, hey, typically it's $3.99. If we can get you in tomorrow, that initial will just be $2.99, and then we come out every quarter, right? And then it's just $65 a month or whatever it is. So it's like the same thing. You're just adding a little extra, and then like the one I sold last week, I mean, the lady was like $65 a month. She had some questions. You answer the questions, and then you just get card info and signatures, and you make sure they know that, hey, this is a year-long thing. So,
Okay.
I mentioned
So
that.
selling like yearly.
It's a 12-month ordeal.
Yeah.
So we'll 4 cleans, right? That initial, 3 other cleans, and then it's a monthly bill, and then they're locked in for the year.
Have you ever thought of like selling like plans that don't stop, and then when they want to opt out, they just have to like refund
Yep,
that's
I think that's what Mint does. So who was I?
Yeah, that's exactly what they do.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I was talking to someone about. But yeah, about like just having that. And I was curious why. So they would pay like a cancel if they wanted to opt out, like a cancel fee if they wanted to opt out.
Yeah, so from what I understand is that, so they do monthlies, quarterlies, and biannuals. And there's like different like dollar savings per visit based on frequency. And so if let's say they save $50 per clean and they sign up for a quarterly and they want to cancel after 2 cleans, they'll just have to refund that $50.
That $50, yeah. So
the OG one.
Because I saw on Mint's website that they oh yeah, you're doing a podcast with the guy. That's cool. I think they because they say no contracts on their website, so I was curious about that. Right. But yeah,
like commitment, I guess, contract.
Yeah, no
but
commitment.
There is like still a service plan, right?
For sure. Yeah, ask the guy at Mint about Glide, because he knows Glide because they're based out of the same area, right. And he wasn't talking down on door to door, but I know the guy at Mint I think he's big on like just traditional marketing. Yeah. So I'd be curious of just more insight on his opinion on door to door.
But this Glide guy is door to door mostly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they he was saying like, dude, I watch all their videos. I watch a ton of like YouTube whenever I'm eating and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was saying that they ran door to door for a few months. And I guess the team was kind of disconnected to the technicians. Yeah. And there was a lot of like miscommunication.
Yeah.
And confusion with the clients too on like what they were signing up for. So
yeah. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you thought about that stuff?
Yeah, that's big time. I actually did see that video. Of Gatlin, right? Is his name?
Gatlin, yeah.
Yeah, Gatlin. Yeah, I actually did see that video of him talking about that. And I think my take on it, right, is I think if putting myself in Gatlin's shoes, where it's like, hey, I've grown this window cleaning business to pretty high level, right? I've done it through traditional marketing. I don't think he has a ton of door-to-door experience himself. Like, I think so. Don't quote me on that. And then going into starting a door-to-door sales team, I can imagine how that could be, one, super just like chaotic and new. And then also on the technician side, it's probably just like a lot of miscommunication that goes on. Just not knowing how door-to-door sales reps are, because as someone who's been in door to door for a while, like I know how I was a sales rep, like myself, like I know what you're saying anything to that homeowner to get the deal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like we'll do this. It's like, and if you don't know that, you're like, what the heck is going on? And so
As the
I feel like,
technician.
I feel like that's where I'm really motivated to grow these service plans at the doors, because door to door is kind of my bread and butter. Like that's what built me, right? I've been doing it for 5 years. That's how I've learned like everything about just sales, business, life. Everything has all been in door to door for me. So I think that's why I'm so like motivated to grow the door to door side of it. Still tap into the traditional marketing side, but more on the door to door side, because that's like, know your strengths and weaknesses, and door to door is definitely one of my strengths. And so I want to, grow a culture of door to door, because I know like if it's done right, it can be good, but I can see how without that experience, it's probably a pain.
I don't know too. I don't know if he was actually running the team, or if they like just hired someone to build a team. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
I also noticed too, like the start of our season this year, our techs were like, it was really like me and the guy who's selling with me. He's selling like doors a little bit, and then a lot of just like on the phone and stuff.
Yeah.
But there was a big disconnect from us and the technicians.
Okay.
And it caused just kind of culture problems.
For sure.
And then a lot of those technicians, it didn't end up working out, and we kind of got a fresh,
for sure,
like a whole reset. But
yeah,
I wanted to ask you, like how you, I guess what your operations look like, and then also how you build the culture and stuff like that at your team.
Yeah, dude, for sure. That's a great question.
The other thought that I had too was like, I don't know, like the door-to-door guys at the end of the day, if they sell the job for $300 or $350 or $250, they don't care as much. But if the techs are on performance pay,
then it's
I feel like it's a bigger deal for them, right?
Yeah. So, again, like just up until 3 weeks ago, like I pretty much had the realization that like my service was crap like 6 months ago, like on the service side of things. Like technicians weren't amazing. I mean, they did the job, but they weren't like just amazing. They didn't really care about it, and that was like my realization 6 months ago. And then I knew that was the direction I wanted to go with it, by improving the service side. I thought, which is silly me, because like as someone with no blue collar experience, no manager experience on the service side, I'm not an expert in cleaning windows myself. Like truth be told, never did a whole lot of it when I started the business. It was silly for me to think like I could ever improve that side of the business on my own, right? And that's kind of what came to realization just a month ago, is like, okay, I gotta bite the bullet. I got to sacrifice margins, and I got to hire a service manager. So I hired a service manager, with experience in the blue collar field, experience managing people, and, fired all my current cleaners, right. And hired a whole new team of cleaners that were all under him, that were all trained by this guy. And I did that because we're starting service plans, and I know how important the service side is going to be for the sake of this summer being a success. Because when sales reps are out here, if they sell a plan and then they cancel because the service was crap, like I'm gonna feel horrible for that. So hired a service manager like a month ago, and he's been kind of revamping everything on the service side. So he just takes care of everything from A to Z on the service side, in terms of like, training new guys when they come out, maintaining equipment, replacing equipment, driving from job to job, making sure customers are happy, just doing all that kind of stuff on the service side of things. And that's
he's not generating any revenue. He's just managing.
Exactly.
I guess when you're like, how many techs is he managing?
So we coming into the summer, we're gonna have 8, and we're now switching to teams of 2. So it'll be four teams of 2 techs per job. Yeah.
Nice.
We'll try to have them do like
I guess when you got 8 techs, it's like you can have one guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Managing, right.
Yeah, that's what we need. So he was long overdue, and again, I've only been a year and a half in the business, so I'm still learning a whole lot. And
what's his pay structure like?
Yeah, I'll tell you. It's I pay him 30 an hour. Yeah, and he's working,
Okay.
40, 50 hour weeks. So it's definitely, you definitely
Nice.
gotta cut margins by a good bit just to
Yeah.
get that guy going. But again, I knew it was what we had to do.
Yeah, because that's straight off the bottom line, pretty much.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, what is that? 1,200 a week he's getting. So it's a lot for sure. But again, for the sake of this summer being a success, I knew like that was what we needed, and so yeah, I got him, and then I have like in terms of operations side, I have like if we were like an Apple, he'd be like the CEO of H2O Bros, but he runs all the back end stuff, just everything that goes like a flow. Like when we got a new CRM, he's getting that set up. He's making sure,
So
you
like an
know,
office manager kind of.
yeah, pretty much. Like he just sits behind the desk all day. I mean, he does a lot for me. He helps with some coaching stuff.
Yeah.
We go way back too. He's a good friend, and so yeah, he just kind of does a lot on the business side as well as like the
Yeah.
coaching side of things. So it's really important to have him, especially since I'm doing like content and coaching.
And he's
And
like pretty much full time too.
yeah. So he gets the pay structure with him. Yeah, just, yeah. I guess it's funny. I guess I don't really talk about this as much as I thought I did. But yeah, so he gets a percentage off all the reps. We also worked out some equity in the company, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Really, really good. Like
So
I
he's
think
a
that
part owner.
a little bit, yeah. And I think
Wow.
that's really
That's
big
awesome.
for me at least. And this is maybe just an opinion. Maybe I'm wrong for even thinking this, but like I think for someone like, yeah, his name's Austin too. For someone like
Yeah.
Austin, that is such a big role in the company, it's important for him to have equity because I want him to be like growing this. Like if he gets a call
Yeah.
Saturday night, I want him to pick up the phone and have it like it's his own business. And he'll never have it like it's his own business if he doesn't have some equity in the company, right? You don't have to give, 50% or a big percentage, but you definitely got to give the guys that make a big impact in the business like just some equity because
Like
you
non-voting
want
stuff, eh?
yeah, you want them to just treat it like it's, at least
Yeah.
part of their own, and they're building something that they'll get a big return from down the road if we franchise or sell it. So
Yeah. I guess they're kind of betting on that though, right? Because if you've got non-voting shares
yeah,
and you're not planning on selling or franchising or whatever,
yeah,
there's not
100%.
much meaning. But
Yeah, 100%. And I think with him too, where he makes some like from the business in terms of a month, right? It's more of a long term play for him in terms of if we
Yeah.
sell, but like having him, bringing into coaching too. Obviously, he'll do some sales calls for coaching, and that's great too because he makes money from that, and I can get in the leads to that. So he'll always kind of be my, especially now that I don't have a business partner anymore. Like he'll always be kind of my business partner, right hand man with it because he's a guy that you never have to worry about leaving or quitting when times are tough. So and I'm big on if I like them, they bring me value. Like I want to do anything to keep them around. So
yeah. Yeah, dude. This Tommy Mello guy, bro. I'm a big Tommy Mello guy.
yeah,
But he wrote this book. It's called Elevate, and the whole idea is like build a business where everyone wins. The
Mhm.
vendors, the clients, your team, you
Yeah.
win. But dude, when they sold, I think like 47% of the company a few years ago to private equity
hmm
for I think 600 mil.
Wow.
And dude, when he did that, he made like 25 millionaires in the company.
In the company.
Yeah, from people who had equity. Because he has
Wow.
an equity incentive program where you actually like kind of earn the equity. Where it's
Whoa,
not just
dude.
random. So like I'm
Is this
pretty
all in
sure
the
this
book?
is how I understand. Yeah, I think it is.
Tommy,
He doesn't get like in the details in the book Elevate, but he's dropping a new book called Pay Them What They're Worth because he's big on performance pay too. Him and
Tommy
Mike
Mello.
Andes were
Official
they're the
Tommy
guys who
Mello.
got us like really looking into P for P because now we're on performance pay, bro. I think it's a no-brainer for technicians
For
and
sure.
obviously sales guys too. But
For sure. Yeah. Okay, sick, dude. I'm gonna have to dive more into it. I've seen this guy. Yeah. I'm gonna have to dive more into his stuff because I'm
Yeah,
big on just like you were talking, like, and I think you're really similar like this. I could tell is just learning from. I mean, taking advantage of social media in a mentorship kind of way. You know what I mean?
of
Like the
course.
amount
Like
of
getting
free,
mentored.
yeah, like the amount of free mentoring you can get just through watching guys YouTube or
Oh
following
yeah.
them on Instagram. It's like
So much free stuff, bro.
so much free stuff out there. Like
Yeah.
even like the two guys I always grind their stuff is like Dan Martell. He talks about buy back your time and all that kind of stuff, and that's
Yeah.
really changed my life. And I'm like, this guy's like a top tier entrepreneur, and he's just
Yeah.
putting out all this free stuff. Where his book is like $8 or whatever, and it's all just like I don't know. I'm obsessed with like learning
Crazy.
from those guys. And
Do you have an
yeah,
assistant, dude? Or
do
a
I what?
VA?
Yeah, I do have a VA.
You got a VA?
Yeah, I have a VA.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm telling you, like, Buy Back Your Time is, I not just read that book, like, it was implementation with so many of the things. Like, in terms of, like, the 4 buckets of, like, things that aren't very high in value, drain your energy, things that,
Right.
bring you energy are high value, things that bring you energy but don't make you a lot of money, and then things that,
Yeah.
make you a lot of money but drain your energy. And so those 4 buckets he talks about, I think I'm pretty much on a daily basis. And I'm always looking to delegate things that either drain my energy or just
Yeah.
don't bring me a lot of value to do, like, for the company. And so
Yeah,
I
you at the end of the day, dude, the goal is you just do what you like doing.
dude, yes.
And
And
then the
that's
rest
like
is
that's what I mean I'm very, very, very blessed to say, like, everything I do on a day-to-day basis is things that I love to do now.
so
And
awesome.
again, I'm big on, like, I'll cut my margins, I'll cut my income if that means just doing more of what I want to do and delegating the stuff I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And it's all from Dan Martell, and it's all free.
Yeah.
Everything I've learned from him has all been free. So, come full circle and back to what we were just talking about. It's like it's all free out there. So it's like if you want to level up or change something of your business or your life, it's like I guarantee it's free out there, and there's
Yeah.
no excuses.
Of course. Dude, so this town that I'm moving to, this city, is actually where Dan Martell lives. It's Kelowna.
No way,
Yeah.
dude. That place is the most beautiful place. I always see in the
Yeah.
stories. It has like
The
the
hikes and
lake
stuff?
and yeah.
Yeah, brother.
Dude, when are you moving there?
So my deadline is by July 15th. Because, like, I've got stuff to do here. If I left Whitehorse right now, my business would probably crumble.
Oh yeah.
And so, like, I've got to set some kind of structure up with an operations manager. Because we're going to run the office
Yeah.
here from there is kind of the whole idea.
Sick.
And run most of the sales from there. But, like, on the operations side,
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot
Sick.
of work to do before I can just piece.
For your piece. How far is where you're at Kelowna?
It's about a 2-hour plane ride.
Oh, plane
Or a
ride.
flight, yeah.
Okay. So you can't drive there?
Can't drive. You could drive, it'd be like 26 hours ish.
Oh, so it's far.
30.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Sick,
But
dude.
that was like, there's
Yeah.
that, and then there was a different city that I was thinking about. And then my coach, he's like, dude, if I were you, I'd get as close as possible to Dan Martell.
Well, dude, he does those. It's insane. He does like a founder's hike
yeah.
where it's free. You can just show up and hike
Sure.
with Dan Martell. And I think it's in Kelowna.
Yeah,
And I don't know what day it is, but like I was like, dude, if I
Tuesday
ever,
mornings.
yeah,
6:30.
if I could, yeah, there you go. You know
Dude, you
it.
should come visit, bro.
I
I was there
would
for
love
like
to.
a month last year.
Yeah.
And it's got like the highest entrepreneur per capita in all of Canada. It's also, I don't know, like Canada's tough for business. Taxes are crazy.
Is it?
Stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're
Yeah.
paying an extra, all our guys are on payroll, so that'd be like W-2 for you guys.
Yeah.
We're paying an extra 20% of
Really?
what the guys are actually making just in taxes, yeah.
Oh
So
my
our
god.
labor's at 25, like straight
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
direct labor, but we end up, it costs the business 30%, which
Yeah.
is like, you don't want to go over 30, I don't think.
Yeah. I know. I was gonna ask you that. Do you think you'd ever, obviously, spend some time in Miami? Like, do you think
Yeah.
you'd ever move to the States, like, full time?
Maybe, bro. I think
Maybe.
eventually, probably. I want to
Yeah.
grow the company down there eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of work to do in Western Canada, though. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I got my eyes on for like the next 5,
Yeah.
maybe 10, and then, dude, we'll see where we're at, bro.
But see where,
There's like
yeah.
so many
Okay.
guys in Windows who want to grow big businesses, like the Mint guys, bro. They want to do crazy huge stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, again, I think window cleaning is like, if there's 10 levels with the window cleaning industry, I think we're on, level 4. I think it really is kind of, because I mean, just, when I started the business, only a year and a half ago, there was no door-to-door window cleaning companies, like really at all around where I'm at. And now every time I have the reps go out or I go out and knock, sometimes I'll run into another door-to-door window cleaning rep.
Wow.
I've knocked doors where it's like, oh, someone was here last week from a different company. I know of like 4 door-to-door ones that are popping up. So, it's definitely, it's definitely like just from the past year and a half has blown up. But I still think I think it's blown up in terms of like guys getting their foot in the door with starting their own company. And then I think a lot of guys will get kind of left in the dust when companies start really going crazy with service plans.
You think that's the future?
Yeah,
Straight
for
up.
sure. Yeah, I really
What do you think? I forget who I was talking to, but I was talking to someone like definitely this week about service plans and stuff, and he was saying like eventually it's going to be like the sale's going to kind of be like you're going to have to pay for the cancellation fee, and somehow, because people are already going to be on plans and you're going to be trying to get them on your plans and stuff like that.
Dude, switchovers. Yeah, that's exactly
Switchovers.
100%. I don't think window cleaning industry will be as big as pest control industry, as big as the pest control industry, but I think it'll be right there. I think it'll be like right now there's a big separator between the pest control industry and window cleaning industry. Like in terms of really like sales reps that go out and like there's guys that can go out for a summer in pest control and make 6 figures in 4 months easily. Some guys are making more than that. 200,000-300,000 in a summer, and window cleaning, like that's unheard of. No one's doing that. And so I think when the first sales rep in a window cleaning company makes like crazy numbers in a year, and again I think Glide is doing pretty similar to pest numbers. They're then that it's going to start kind of avalanching, and then more door-to-door service plan companies are popping up.
What's your pay structure for your like sales guys?
Yeah, so they're at 25%. Yeah, when we did one-time cleans, they were at 30%, but 25% with the service plans, and then they'll get a monthly residual. So
25 on the initial?
Yeah, so how it'll work is they'll get 25% off the initial clean. So say it's $299 for that initial, they'll get 25% paid out the next week, and then they get 25%. Let's say that monthly recurring bill for that homeowner was $99 or $100 to make it easy. So then they get 25% on that $100. But
so they get 25 forever.
25, but they have to. So this is what we're still working on is how long, because like when pest control, right? Again, I modeled a lot of this off pest control. Pest control, when guys go out for the summer, they have to be out there. I don't know. It's different every company, but they have to be out there for a certain period of time to get that full length payout in that 12-month plan, right? So like, and same thing with guys that are coming out for the summer. So like the guys that worked out that are coming out in June is they gotta be out here for a month, but to get that full 12-month payout, right? So it's gonna incentivize them to stay, right? Increase retention. And then ultimately for the guys that do stay out and stay that full period of time, and say a guy comes out for 4 months and sells 1,000 accounts, I mean, he's making 25% on that $100 a month times 1,000. You know what I mean? So it could be pretty crazy in terms of residuals for sales reps. And so that's what I'm really excited to see with these service plans is the sales rep side of things, because guys will, I think the retention for door-to-door sales reps for window cleaning is so low because, guys will just go start their own company, right? But when there's service
Yeah.
plans involved, then it's
so
like
low barrier to entry.
it's so low barrier to entry, and the money you're making as a sales rep in window cleaning is nothing crazy. You know what I mean?
And dude, it's hard to pay, like, bro, if you're paying more than 20, 30, like, your margin, unless your labor is like nothing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's your technicians who are
exactly
the backbone, right?
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, 100%.
So, dude, I'm thinking, like, reps are getting 25 to 30. Techs are getting, I don't know what your techs are at. Ours are, at the end of the day, after all burdens, 30.
Yeah, same.
And then, like, when you end up growing, you're going to need office, operations manager.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Expenses, shop.
Exactly. 100%. And so, yeah, exactly.
If you can hit,
so,
like, 20%, dude.
It's great.
After paying everyone, that's great.
It's great. Yeah, for sure. And so that's with the service plans on the sales rep side of things is they'll, guys can go out and, just sell 1 or 2 contracts. And, if they get paid out the full 12 months, they're going to end up making just way more in the long run of things. And so once that catch traction, then we've already had some guys coming out for the summer jumping boat from pests to do this because they're seeing now, oh shoot, I can sell, a different service and make the same, if not more, right? Versus before, it was hard to get pest guys to come over here because they were like, oh, what? I'm making like third of what I'm making over at Pest. Why would I jump? And it's like, yeah, I wouldn't. So
what if they sold both?
Good. Yeah, just like at the door at the same time.
Yeah. Nah, you don't want windows?
Yeah, we'll do pest. Dude, that's how my business started. I was selling solar. And
really,
and I was like, why don't I just like, if anyone doesn't want solar, I'll just like offer them window cleaning. And I never really did that because we just went out and then just tried doing window cleaning and then immediately just quit solar. But I mean, that was the thought process was like, oh, let's just keep doing solar, and then it's like, well, we'll do window cleaning on the side. So
and then you went full time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, dude, we got like 15-ish to go here. I want to get into some numbers, bro, because I know you've had some pretty crazy months. Because I've been seeing your stuff for a long time. And then I forget who told me. They were like, yo, like Austin H2O Bros is doing like 100K months.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that. So, which is fire. So, bro, congrats off the bat. But
thanks.
Yeah, bro, what was you guys' biggest month?
January
month for you guys right now.
So January we did 120, right?
Wow.
That was our biggest month to date, and all last year it was just like slowly increasing up to that 120. I think November and December we did right around 80, and then January is when we really did all systems go with the blitzes and ran 2 blitzes back to back, and so we had like 8 to 10 reps out here for the entire month of January, and so we did about 120 in January, and then February
was
was
serviced or sold?
Serviced.
Wow.
Yeah. Serviced.
Sweet.
Yeah. And then
how many techs is that?
We had 10. Yeah, so we went down in tech. So we had 10 at the time doing that.
That's a big operation, man.
Dude, it was. Yeah, it was hectic. It was a lot. And thank God I had, that operator to kind of make sure everything was organized. And then February was just right around 100. March, same thing, right around 100. And then April was a little less than 100. And then May was last month we had very minimal sales reps out here and decreased the techs by a couple or a few actually, just because May was like all about kind of revamping to get ready for June. So May we did, I think it was supposed to start, it was like 57. So definitely lower. But yeah, margins still good. And again, it's all about.
Yeah. What's like a healthy bottom line when you're, when you've got big teams of reps and techs and you got an operations guy?
Yeah. Like, in January is probably the lowest margins, like just under 20%, just with everything. Okay. Yeah. And then, I think,
like paying yourself and stuff.
Yeah. And then
that's solid, bro.
A typical month was like, it'd be 25 to 30%, 35 on the very high end, but I think 25% is probably average.
Yeah. That's
Sure.
what's up, bro. Dude,
Yeah.
Like our numbers were super, super messy last year. Like I had no idea. I was selling everything. I just had techs.
Yeah, same.
And it was like, dude, I thought I had like a 60% margin. Our labor was way too high. It was about 40%.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm making like 60% profit margin. And then this year, I joined this coaching program, home service business coach.
Okay.
And the whole idea was like, I got to actually learn numbers and figure out how to make systems and stuff like that. And dude, I realized like, okay, I need to be paying myself for what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
And I need to be building the company as if we have an office and we have an operations manager. And because like, dude, at the end of the day, you can sell window jobs for $100 if you're cleaning them and you're making $100 an hour.
Yeah.
But then it's like, cool. Well, if you keep doing that,
it's like
when you have
boom,
boom, boom, all these expenses, you're not going to be in business.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. It's it really is. It really is mind blowing how there's a lot of stuff on what you see out there for window cleaning for like big numbers. I mean, even that month of 120 that we did, like that was probably it was funny, that peak in revenue, but honestly peak low in everything else. Like so disorganized, so chaotic. We spent way too much in like blitz expenses. I was definitely the most stressed out I've been since the business. Whatever. Like January was like, almost kind of like is like holy moly, like it kind of get like a little scarred from it just because it was such a stressful month, dude. Yeah, like not in a good way. Like definitely wouldn't recommend it for anyone in terms of like being like, if you're doing 120 but you're ready and you have everything set up for it, that's a completely different setup than what we were. Like I had never had that many reps out there. We had never done blitzes to that scale. The cleaners, the service wasn't equipped enough. We didn't have a service manager. And it was a lot, but people see 120 and they're like, dispatch.
Like does each sales guy have like a technician or two techs that he just books for?
That's a good question, and that's why that's like one of the main reasons we went from home base to house call is because the dispatching was just chaotic on home base, and on house call you can have the sales rep book jobs like through a link. So they pull up a link on like whatever Safari or Google Chrome, and then it shows what's available based off the washer's availability. So as they book a job, it'll get taken off of the washer, and so that way it's just constantly up to date with what's available for that day, rather than having to go in and like dispatch it or us go in and dispatch it. I mean, my operator would have to do that at the end of the day, but it was only what was available. The sales reps could only book what was available for the washer.
Right. Okay. And then, dude, your washers are just like going house to house? Do they got whips or like what does that look like?
Yep, all personal cars. So that's kind of where I feel like I haven't seen a lot of guys do it, like in terms of how I do it. I know Josh and Oliver were big on like driving all the technicians out to area and then getting out and doing that, and then I know Mint and big companies like that have like the service trucks and things like that.
It costs a lot though.
I was like, I didn't have the capital to do that, and I definitely didn't have I couldn't be driving techs to jobs, so I was like, let's just try it where our techs were pretty much like their own independent contractor, where they'd have the equipment with them, they'd have everything in their personal car, and then they just drive from job to job. Yeah, exactly. Nice. Yeah, they just have my equipment. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet, dude. Last quick question, then I kind of want to give you the stage before we wrap up.
Yeah.
But when you're running a blitz, because this is stuff I'm thinking about when we go to this new market. I know, because like that's the cool thing with door-to-door is there's no really expenses.
Yeah.
The only expenses kind of, they come after you get the money, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you have to drop like, I know Tommy Mello, when they're opening a new market, dude, they're like unprofitable for 3 years.
Yeah.
Because they're backed by so much money, they can just plow marketing dollars.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Dude, when you run a blitz, What's the so obviously you pay the sales guys their commission, that's a cost, but what percentage of like the revenue that they generate would you say is like housing and food and stuff like that? Because that's another, right, expense that comes
Yeah.
with
So
it.
like, how do I take it out of their commission, or if I do?
Yeah, or if you do, or like what additional that would be.
Yeah.
Like what your, I guess your marketing spend comes to
Yeah.
after the blitz
Yeah. Great
with
question.
all
So
the burdens and stuff.
the January was, again, talk about a learning lesson. So we didn't charge any of the reps out here we call it like a blitz fee, and it's pretty common in door to door sales. Like I did a bunch of blitzes in solar, and we'd always get a blitz fee, and that blitz fee is just taken out of commission, and it covers whether it's a rental car or a stay, things like that is mainly what it
Yeah.
covers. So we didn't do that in January, which is why it was just like expenses were through the roof. But now we charge like a daily rate for guys to be out here. So it constantly
Okay.
changes based off how long or not how long they stay, just more so how expensive rental cars, Airbnbs are for everyone that's out here. Rental cars isn't really taken into account because some guys will drive and some guys will have to get rental cars for. So it's more so the stay and like the housing and things like that. But it ranges anywhere from like 20 to like $40 a day is what they'll get charged out of commission depending on how long they stay and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So you're not actually taking too much of a hit, I guess, then. That's nice.
Yeah. January we did, but
Yeah.
not anymore. Yeah, we had to.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Dude, any like books that, you really recommend for the audience that aren't like, I guess, the classic How to Win Friends, stuff like that?
Yeah. I think it's funny. I think buyback if you own a business.
Yeah.
Really, if you own a business, I was gonna say like sales reps, but it's mainly for the business owners out there. Even just guys just starting their window cleaning company. Buy back your time, Dan Martell. Just like the power of delegating and growing a business that you learn to love is what he says, which is huge. Like not a business that you're like slaving away at and you're grinding. Like a business that you really grow to like have fun with is it's huge. So that book, Outwitting the Devil will always be like my entry level personal development book for everyone. It's Napoleon Hill. I know he writes like Think, Grow, and Rich, and that book really exposed to me just the the idea of like vices and just kind of being like is what they call it in the book is a drifter of just like someone who just kind of coasts through life, doesn't really have any sort of intent or purpose or like mission driven thing. And then vices, how there's so many, even vices that you don't even know are vices, but just so many things out there that numb your, like, for an example, a super common thing that people don't even realize. And, I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this, is just like, watching sports, like that could be even a thing of like, it just numbs you and kind of gets you away from your current reality into just something else to where it takes you away from it. And so many people are just filled with vices, and that book just exposes so many of them and where like our society has derived all those vices from. So it makes a lot more sense in the book, but that book is like absolutely changed my life. I've never read a book so like oh my gosh, it feels like the most
Would you
powerful
say you got to
book I've
read
ever
it like on paper?
Yeah. I can't read on like online for the most part.
Oh no, but like I was thinking of listening to it because I listened to it
Oh
all.
yeah, if you listen to books on the regular, then yeah. For sure.
Word.
I'm not good with audiobooks, so yeah, I read that
Okay.
on paper. So yeah, Outwitting the Devil's a big one. I'm reading Unlock Your Potential right now. That's a pretty solid one. But I mean,
Is that Tony
those
Robbins?
two books and what?
Is that Tony Robbins?
No, it's Jeff Lerner. He's like this, just classic like personal. I'm big into personal development. That's like like honestly my main passion. Above like I love the business side of things. I love sales, but like personal development is the stuff that is everything to me, because that's the stuff that I live and breathe. Is just like mental, spiritual, and physical, and things like that, and constantly working on yourself every day, and just things like that. So
Would
yeah,
you say This is a tough question, but would you say that stuff helps with the business?
Yeah, like, I mean,
Or moves the
eh,
needle or
yeah,
whatever?
anyone that really watches a lot of my content I will continue to post about it is it's the fuel to the fire. Like it's absolutely everything. I'm a big advocate that it is impossible to not have a successful business if you're in a personal development. Like I've always been
Mm,
big on, and Dan Martell talks about this a lot. I've always been big on like work harder on yourself than you
right.
work harder on the business, because for me, like window cleaning is like just really a vehicle. Like the personal development is like what what I like derive a lot of my like happiness and purpose from. And then the vehicle of window cleaning is just kind of what I'm doing, right? Whether I was doing, e-commerce or crypto trading or window cleaning or roof washing or selling who knows what or whatever business I'm doing, right? I don't think it would have mattered, right? Obviously, there's better vehicles than other ones, and window cleaning's, one of the best ever. Like we're in such a gold rush of it. But really, I'm a big advocate that whatever vehicle I'm in, because I prioritize the personal development so
Mm,
much, I would just crush anything that I'm in because of everything that I learn and develop outside of work. And
yeah, yeah.
I think that's where I credit, everything. And so, yeah, I think it's, everything for sure.
Super quick, bro. We're kind of over, but what
Mm,
does that look like for you, like on a day-to-day basis?
yeah. So, I'm definitely big in spiritual. So I'm not a really
Mm-hmm.
religious guy, but I'm big on, developing a relationship with God, higher power, whatever you want to call it. Right. Again, I'm not religious. I don't think there's like necessarily correct religion, but just big on, being connected with God every single morning, first thing. So, reading the Bible, and then I usually start my morning off with a book. So, 20, 30 minutes of some sort of personal development book or business book, whatever I'm doing, and then going straight into some physical activity, right? Whether it's walking outside, I'm training for a triathlon now, so going on a run, swimming, biking, going to the gym. Obviously, I do that. So anything physical is, first thing, just spiritual, mental, physical, right out of the gate every single day. And then I go
Mm,
into whatever I'm doing for work.
okay, sweet. Well,
Uh,
bro, where can people find you? Where's the best place to reach out?
yeah, Instagram, Austin H2O Bros, and then YouTube, Austin Ortiz door to door. That's the thing I'm most excited for. I think there's just every
Mm,
YouTube video every Sunday. That's it's going to be a lot of good stuff, a lot of good value on there. I think long form is where you can definitely extract the most value from people. So that's where I'll be putting everything good out there. But yeah, dude, it's been fun chatting.
sweet. Anything? Any final words, bro? I'll give you the stage.
Yeah.
Wrap it up here for the people.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's either, well, looking into a business, I think, we connected off window cleaning, and
Hmm.
door to door window cleaning or just window cleaning in general is without a doubt just a gold rush right now. And I think between the low barrier of entry, now with the opportunity of service plans, building recurring money every single month just through that, it's like it's really life changing, and anyone can do it, right? And I think if you hold that value around working on yourself over the business, like with a vehicle like window cleaning, I mean, you're just set up
Mm,
for success. So yeah, that's what I would kind of tie everything together with those two things.
sweet. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Go check out Austin. Go check out the other episodes. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.